what team? What is the team
Yeah.
that you say that we have to value ourselves enough
Yeah.
to build a team?
Yeah. So one thing I talk about in the book, it's about building. I talk about the dream team from the Olympics, right?
Dream.
That's where I remembered one of the best teams when I was young was the team with Magic and Jordan and Bird and So I remember that dream team from the NBA. But I said, you know what? Just like athletes have a team of doctors and health professionals around them every time one athlete gets hurt, even in any type of professional sport, football, baseball, basketball, somebody gets hurt, a team of people crowd around them. So what I try to provoke and dare with the audience is one, who's your team, like who's on your team, and before you start that team, what are the values that you have? So, if you value, doing conservative care, and if you value, preventing issues before they start and before, you start having to depend on medication, especially for, children and youth and things of that nature, then put that as part of your values and come up with like what I call like the wellness wish list. And then from there, now you start shopping for who are doctors and who are providers that meet those values for me and my family. And then, of course, everybody, you do need a primary care. You do need a primary care physician. And I would even say, of course, yes, I'm a chiropractor, but you do need a medical primary care physician. Why? Because the way that the current system, right? But just like the way that the current healthcare paradigm is set up, that is like the bedrock of the healthcare system. The primary care physicians, when people develop relationships with them, that's where you find, you know what, I see your blood pressure is going up. I see that you have a family history of this. Maybe we should get checked for this. And that's where a lot of the preventable screenings and a lot of the prevention happens. But what I saw in my research is that, unfortunately, one of the trends in healthcare is that there's actually been a huge drop. I don't want to say huge, but it's a significant drop in the use of primary care physicians with the advent of more people going to the ER, more people just, waiting for the symptom to happen, more people waiting and then maybe just going to an urgent care because they're thinking, okay, I can go see an urgent care. The problem with that is that if I had an issue and it kept coming up every year, but every year I saw a different person that worked in the ER, a different person that worked in urgent care, there's no primary care physician that's actually tracking and seeing the negative trends that might be happening with myself or within my family. So you gotta have a primary care. And then from there, hey, that's where I might be able to come in, because I would say, get yourself a holistic practitioner, an alternative care practitioner, chiropractors. We are the largest group of healthcare providers outside of medical doctors and nurses. And whether you choose to use a chiropractor or whether you choose to use another doctor, just make sure that you have somebody that's credentialed, that's also looking outside the box, that can also say, hey, look, you know what? Yes, you were prescribed, this anti-inflammatory for your disc that is inflamed. But if you're looking at it posturally, you're sitting all day, you are, you're not eating the right foods, you are misaligned when I look at this x-ray. So let's start doing some things that can start addressing some of these biomechanical alterations that's in your spine. So maybe you don't have to continue to take all of these anti-inflammatories that can have negative side effects if you take them for a long period of time. So, that's what it's about. That's what building a healthcare team is all about.
And we're both from Brooklyn.
Yes.
And Bed-Stuy, do or die.
Flatbush.
And my father was a pharmacist.
Wow.
And shout out to my father. And he was the first black pharmacist to own his own business in New York City. But I say that to say that there were a lot of people, even in Bed-Stuy then, that couldn't afford to go see my uncle, who was an MD, around the corner.
Wow.
So they used to call him Charlie, and some called him Doc. Go see Doc and let him make a tincture or do something And so our community has always been comprehensive. You know, and the team approach. Now, especially the way insurance companies are making medical and healthcare decisions. It's important because the cavalry's not coming. And that's what you dare us. You dare us to take the information that you've provided, connecting the dots, and leaving a legacy.
And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's a chapter where I felt like, especially with my master's being in community health and, you know, learning about, you know, industries and how they play a part in healthcare decisions. I think that's one of the biggest things that I saw as a surprise as a healthcare provider was how much that, you know, how much industries were playing a part in people making individual decisions and people making decisions, like how much people had to rely on you know, their health insurance, if it was covered or not, right? Oh, well, I guess I'm not getting this because it's not covered. And who makes that decision on what's covered and what's not? You know, who makes the decision? So there are people making decisions in a boardroom that affects the health of so many different communities. And we have to advocate for ourselves, not just individually, but also as communities, right? So that we can get better access to all types of providers, right? The fact that people in our community can go indefinitely and they can obtain, you know, pain injections and medication, but yet they can't go indefinitely to a chiropractor, or they can't even go indefinitely to a massage therapist or to a mental health therapist, right? Like, who's making the decisions to say, okay, this community, they're only going to get access to these providers, right? It's almost saying, okay, this community, you're only going to get access to this liquor store or to this drugstore or to this, right? So we've got it. So that's where the dare comes in. Because if all the industry is saying that all I can do is see what's around me, I have to still look around and I think outside of the box to see what else can I do, what else is out there that's going to take better care of me and my family. How can I find a doctor that's going to care for me as if I am their own child and their own you know, brother or sister or uncle or whatever it is, and how can I find that? And that's what this book empowers people to do. It's teaching them to connect the dots, find the providers that are out there that will treat them as one of their own, and not only that, but also build a lasting legacy for them and their family.
This is revolutionary.
Yeah.
You know? What can I tell you? This is revolutionary. Because the cavalry's not coming. Okay? The cavalry's not coming, and you point out and bring up, I mean, historically, the chapter on our broken healthcare system lays it completely out why we are where we are. Expand on that.
I mean, I had to start because, you know, this book is for people that have to understand that the healthcare system, as good as we put it on a pedestal and as good of outcomes as we have, I will say this: the healthcare system, if you are going to die in an emergency, this is the absolute best healthcare system that you could be in, because we're saving lives every day, and there are plenty of absolutely amazing healthcare professionals that are working in the healthcare industry. But the system as itself, I had to kind of paint the picture in the first chapter how the healthcare system as a paradigm is broken. We are actually paying more per health, per capita, per GDP. We're paying more per health for every family compared to other industrialized nations, but yet we're showing up as we are in terms of quality of life. We are some of the lowest numbers that you see. We are some of the lowest numbers in terms of quality of health, and actually people actually living longer and living healthier. So we've got to address that. If we're not addressing that, then we're just continuing to pour money into a broken system.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, one of the things when I was with SAMHSA that we did the, what do they call, we needed coaches, the doulas.
Yeah.
We needed people. What we used to do when we were in community, so to speak, before the insurance companies put everybody in different silos. That was the kind of information that we shared.
Yeah.
And I think your book challenges us.
Yeah.
Part of what we need to do is we need to have health professionals integrated more.
Yeah. Speak about that.
Integrated. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about how can we be, just like scientists say, how could we not discuss quantum physics?
Yeah.
How can we not discuss alternative modes of providing quality care?
And here's why it's incumbent upon the medical community to actually do what you're doing, which is like actually start talking about integration and start talking about integrative health, which is actually one of the chapters, because people are out there and they are looking for things and they're looking for answers. And if they didn't like the outcome that grandma got because she's on her 5th surgery and she's miserable, then they're obviously not going to continue in that path. They're going to start looking for something else. And if the medical community don't have reputable and trusted sources of information, then what's out there is that, especially with the internet age, then you have people just going to trust anybody, and it's somebody that's not credentialed, it's somebody that's not licensed, it's somebody that can steer them down the wrong path. So that's why it's so important for all sorts of different doctors, and that's what I talk about in the book. It's about the medical community coming together and really talking about, okay, how can we better work together? Just like even in pregnancy, I don't know if you saw, but the study just came out. It's already been in the research, but the study just came out where even with pregnancy, they're showing how the U.S. has dropped so low on the infant mortality, right? With infant mortality. And the reason for that, and it's funny because it's something they've just been sweeping under the rug, but African American mothers have been, it's almost close to like 50% now. So that's something that should be an alarm. We should be sounding the alarm because, we can't continue to have those trends happening just in one community, so much so where it's bringing the national number of the infant mortality rate to a new low. We've got to start addressing it to say, okay, well, what is it that we're doing postpartum, and how can they get better access, right, to obstetrics and access to different communities and different providers that can guide them through not just prepartum but postpartum as well. So it's all about integration, and it's all about everybody in healthcare coming together for a common goal and a common purpose.
And that's what you point out, common goal.
Yeah.
We've got, the healthcare system has to come together because we want positive health outcomes.
There it is.
And whether it's coming from the nurse, the chiropractor, the podiatrist, the exercise physiologist, whatever it is, we can see that has happened with cardiovascular disease.
It has,
That we brought that in. And that's what you challenge.
Yes.
There is a challenge.
Yes.
And so if you care, because see, I'm upset. I'm fighting battles I fought before the gray hair. Do you understand? I mean, I'm fighting those same ACT UP, Black Panther Party. I mean, we are repeating it. Mm-hmm.
And and the trends are still either staying the same or going in the wrong direction.
Going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. So something has to happen, but it has to start with grassroots first, because as you said, the cavalry is not coming. So it has to start with the grassroots, and it has to start with people, one, having a better understanding of what's going on in the industry. So that's what I try to paint and portray within the first 2 to 3 chapters, and then from there, okay, now that you understand, these are all the obstacles that exist, and this is why, grandma never kept going to the doctor, and this is why, maybe the family never had access to healthcare. But now that we know
Or
that all
maybe
these
that provider was racist and had no respect for you.
yes.
Okay?
That's also in there as well.
I know.
And that also was the negative experience that I'm talking about, right? But because we know that all of these things have happened, now, how do we put all of that aside and how do we rise above? How do we overcome? How do we dare to live better? How do we dare to do it? Not just because, we have to, but there's so many other people that are depending on us, and it's up to us to make a difference.
Absolutely. Because the Lord says,
Yeah.
doesn't he say that we should not only take care of our generation, but our children's children.
Children's children.
And God, he tells us to focus on the important stuff.
Yeah.
And he never told us to focus on the
Yeah.
focus on the things that you make so clear
Yeah.
and so valuable
Yeah.
in this book.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, this is only the beginning, but, I am, I have the spirit of anticipation on how much this is going to change the trajectory of so many families' lives because, one, somebody dared enough to pick up the book and read it, and then two, they received some level of information that stirred something up inside of them that said, you know what, I've got to do better because you're dependent on me and somebody else is dependent on me. And the reason I'm in this position is probably because there was a negative pattern, right, of generationally that was going on. How do I break that cycle? How do I change that? That's what I'm going to be talking about with many other Dare champions, about thinking outside the box and daring to live well, and really how do you advocate for yourself, right? When, it's like you feel like all hope is lost and, there's nothing else to do. Where do I start? Where do I go? For healthcare, it's very important, especially in this day. Especially in this day and age, it's very important. So I'm excited.
I'm looking at you, and we go back decades, and just to see you, to see your wife, to see the joy on your face, the joy on her face, the happiness with the children. I mean, it starts.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know if we should call him a theologian. Michael Jackson said it starts with the man in the mirror. And you have obviously done that.
Thank you.
Done that.
Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I am grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all your guidance and all of your wisdom and, just your support. Thank you. I mean, you came out here to do this. Thank you so much. Reverend Dr. Lucy Perez, there is none like her. Often imitated, never duplicated. Listen, thank you all for tuning in for the Dare to Live Well book tour. There will be so much more. This is only the beginning, y'all. There will be so much more.
And you've got to discuss it.
Yes.
You got to discuss it with the family, online, however you do it.
Yeah.
You got to talk about it.
Yeah. Health is a conversation that needs to happen in every family, and that's why this book is here. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited for everything that's about to transpire, and continue to follow us at daretolivewell.com. And you know what? Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless.